Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me!
So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list!
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn!
What is up, you ducks? What the hell is Chris Meaney wearing? Stupid Eagles jersey. It is all in football. Live on FTN Network. Make sure if you want to check out stuff at FTN, code all in, get you 20% off. And the Athletic, the waivers will be dropping tonight. We'll be talking in a little sneak preview of those waivers, more in depth tomorrow as always with Lauren. Worries and such, which is a lot of worries. So let's just get right to it, Chris. And let's just get right to what the hell, CMC. With a second, third, fourth, and fifth round pick, and he's part of a timeshare. First game back for Elijah Mitchell, 18 carries. First game back, Elijah Mitchell, the split was 65-35. I tweeted this out. I guess I'm not as cool as Rich Rebar to get like a lot of retweets and love in the community for this one. I thought this was amazing. I'm like, this is really good actual info, but I'm not cool enough. I think I got like 2 likes. But anyway, here's the tweet, Chris. In the game last night, the score differential when the Chargers were up by 4 or more, the split was 75 Christian McCaffrey, 25 for Elijah Mitchell. When the game was +3, just a field goal for the Chargers, up to +2 for the 49ers before they got their field goal, so within basically almost neutral game script, 58% for CMC, 42% for Mitchell, even lower than the 65-35 overall split. When the 49ers had the lead of a field goal or more, Christian McCaffrey only saw 36% of the snaps. Elijah Mitchell, 64%. What are you thinking going forward?
I don't know what to think going forward. It's pretty shocking to see Elijah Mitchell get that kind of run in his first game back. Like, it's really shocking.
You think that tweet should have got a lot more love, right? Can I just make that clear?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen.
That's actual info. I thought that was a great thing to pull up.
Yeah, I mean, people out there could tweet that they had scrambled eggs for breakfast and you can get 1,000 likes, but, you know, you get good info like that and you get 0 likes. I mean, I can't explain Twitter at all. I have no comment on that, but that's a really good tweet.
I need to get the gray check or something. Or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. The gray check. You need to spend like a couple bucks a month to get the extra 2 checks maybe. Can we do that? Man, not just that. With the game on the line last night, they were inside the red zone and Elijah Mitchell was on the field. And Christian McCaffrey was on the sidelines. Like, he came in after the first couple of opportunities failed. Then they brought in Christian McCaffrey, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Well, they both had
that tweet.
They both had 4 rush attempts inside the 10. Christian McCaffrey had 4 inside the 5, and Elijah Mitchell had 2 inside the 5. So still, it's not as pronounced. Like, people are like, oh, he's getting the goal line work. No, it wasn't all the goal line work. It was another 50-50 and then 66 to 33% split.
I mean, like you said, the Niners paid a lot to get this guy. He's clearly the better running back, but this is what Shanahan does. So at the same time, can we be super shocked? We are, because it's Christian McCaffrey, and he's arguably the best running back.
And you paid so much to get him.
And you paid so much to get him, and he makes your team better. But I don't know, man. Like, moving forward, you're obviously starting Christian McCaffrey. Maybe you don't rank him number 1 or number 2 or number 3, but you still have him as a top 5 back. You know what his upside brings. Are the Niners going to be trailing from behind quite often? I don't know. I think this is a pretty good football team. So maybe this is like a 60-40, 70-30 split rest of the way.
I was going to say, so if you expect them to go forward and be in neutral to positive game scripts, then, I mean, we're looking Arizona at home. Maybe that feels like a little bit potential for a Christian McCaffrey type game. But New Orleans at home, Miami. There's another potentially good. By the way, I just noticed this. They have 5 straight home games. Oh, well, the one's in Mexico, but still 5 straight. They got the Chargers, then New Orleans, Miami, and Tampa Bay 3 weeks in a row after the Mexico game, and all at home. Oh, well, that's interesting for them. Favorable for them. Good job for 49ers. Seattle, Washington, and at Vegas. I think that's the bigger concern. We're thinking what everybody's thinking. Like they were like, oh, this makes sense. They're a playoff contender. They want Christian McCaffrey healthy. Of course it makes sense. We just don't think it makes sense when you sit there and say you spent four picks to bring in Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell's first game back after Christian McCaffrey went bananas last week. So I guess this would be the one thing. I know this is the concern talk usually for Tuesdays, but on a scale of 1 to 5, how many ducks would you give Christian McCaffrey? Like you said, he's still a RB1, but when you see that you get Seattle, Washington, Vegas for your playoffs, do you have some hesitancy? Do you have some, he might only be an RB2 during that stretch?
I don't think. I mean, a little bit. I'd give him a duck for sure. Like, and it's nothing on him. It's just Shanahan. And the fact that Elijah, we hadn't seen him for weeks. And right away,
first game back,
more carries, and McCaffrey only has 35% of his team's rushing, attempts out of the backfield. It is in a competitive game. It certainly is concerning. So I'm looking ahead, like you mentioned the schedule. It should be a nice game against Miami. Miami's pushing the pace. They're scoring a lot of points. You get Christian McCaffrey in there on the field, catching a lot of balls out of the backfield. That could be a fun environment. But there's a couple games on the schedule where, they could crush some teams like Las Vegas. I mean, you worry about it week 17, it's fine. You're in the championship, whatever. But
yeah, but
I don't know, man. Maybe he's not a loaded top 3 RB anymore.
No, probably not. I mean, I put him over Barkley this week because I expected exactly what happened in that. I expected that kind of volume. Like, I just didn't think he was going to cede 35% of it to Mitchell. I thought this was going to be a potential 30-touch game for Christian McCaffrey, but it at last wasn't. Lots more to talk about. Did you hear Barkley drinking in the background?
Yeah,
that was Elijah Mitchell.
That
was Elijah Mitchell. He was really thirsty after all that runs.
Well, Barkley too, right? I mean, the guy gets.
He's just carrying the freaking records, Giants.
Right? 35 carries. Are you kidding
Chris,
me?
Running backs don't matter, man. I'm telling you.
No, not at all. They clearly don't matter. But like again, we're starting all these guys, but Barkley.
It does matter for some.
It does, I guess.
Because
there was a question I had in somebody who was in a 6-team league and had.
Well, not even that, but it also matters for this. The trade deadline's coming this week or next week is the trade deadline for a lot of people because usually it's right about Thanksgiving week or sometimes the week before.
Right.
You have Christian McCaffrey.
You
can look at this both. Well, I was gonna say you could actually buy or sell if somebody's thinking number one and you don't want to deal with he's actually more of a mid to low RB1 because if he doesn't get the touchdown, that's kind of an kind of game for him. Still really good, still top 20, probably top 15 this past week. But maybe somebody sells you Christian McCaffrey or sells you buy low on Derrick Henry. By the way, if you've seen the December schedule for the Titans, I don't know if the NFL is doing this on purpose. Or they just want Derrick Henry just to run over every single team in existence in December every year. But maybe you get Derrick Henry and a piece coming off that Derrick Henry game. Flip side, as you just said, somebody's in panic mode and, oh my God, Shanahanigans are going to ruin us again. Then you buy Christian McCaffrey. So it's always relative to this thing. So a lot of injuries we're going to talk about yesterday because they are relative to others. One that we're going to talk about briefly here is Leonard Fournette. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on a bye. Leonard Fournette left the game and didn't come back, but I think that's kind of also because they're on a bye. You get the extended layoff out there in Germany. But Rachaad White, he was my sleeper start last week at running back. Finally, he actually, everybody, I don't know if anybody saw the game, woke up to see it, how many people were watching. He started. He was actually the first snap was Rachaad White. And then there was a very even split going forward. Are we now looking at the new Dallas Cowboys? Is this now Tony Pollard is Rachaad White.
Yeah.
And Zeke is Fournette. Zeke and Fournette basically need touchdowns now.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you're going to get a few catches from Leonard Fournette. You're not getting any from Zeke. I know he hasn't played the past couple weeks, but yeah, absolutely. It's finally time. Rachaad White looks great. He looks a lot quicker. The bye has come at, somebody had tweeted me because I've been talking about, just like you have, White and Christian Watson since the start of the season. Feel like, they should take my mic and camera away because it's been 10 weeks of talking about these two guys. And then finally they show up when, let's be honest, Christian Watson is all over the waiver wire. That's it.
80% of the people had given up at this point.
Yeah, they had given up. But White has been a stash. It's guys, just be patient, mostly because of the injury history with Leonard Fournette, but also he's a really good running back. And it looks like they made that switch even before the injury,
I'll go back to our friend of the network, Jeff Ratcliffe. This preseason, when we're still alternating shows, one of the things he said, and we agreed, we said this on that show, he said, if you draft Rachaad White, You're not drafting him. He actually said Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette. We were talking about this very thing. He said, you're not drafting him to turn around and drop him in week 3 or 4 because Leonard Fournette is not hurt yet.
You're holding the entire year.
This is Khalil Herbert. Again, Montgomery did get hurt at one point, but Herbert, Jamal Williams, like all these like where injuries have happened, Rachaad White's in that same conversation. Like, this is why you didn't give up on him. This is why. And I know some play in 10-team leagues with thin benches for it, and I know it's
tough to hold in those
It's
spots.
tough. I understand that. But for all intents and purposes, what the real conversation comes down to is, like, I see a lot of people asking when they drop in the waiver column, it's like, do I drop Rachaad White or, like, I'm trying to think, like Marvin Jones or like, and I know Marvin Jones, Zay Jones. Zay Jones has been actually startable. So like a Zay Jones, like, no, you drop Zay Jones. He's replaceable. Even right now.
Right.
Kadarius Toney, who we're about to talk about, is replaceable. I know he could be top 30, but the upside of holding on to one of those two, if they are only bench stashes, is this is what we're coming to here. And then, like, what if Leonard Fournette's injury is more severe? We just might as well talk about the other injuries. Cooper Kupp. Good God, just take my leg. I will mail it to him. You can have it. Jerry Jeudy got hurt. Somebody tweeted me and said the only thing that Jerry Jeudy loves more than getting hurt was something I forgot. Like, oh, Will Fuller. Will Fuller thinks Jerry Jeudy gets hurt too much. I was like, it's funny, but I really feel bad for Jerry Jeudy because he's a good talent.
I do too. I know.
Juju Smith-Schuster got lit up and then left. He was in the full like gang sign with the hands. Zach Ertz got hurt. Gerald Everett got hurt. There's a lot of Hurts this week. A lot. Hurts plays tonight. There you go. Lots of Hurts tonight.
Be safe.
Cooper Kupp, we have to wait to see. They said he avoided worst case scenario, but it sounds like it could still be a couple weeks, which is infuriating. Jerry Jeudy, I want to talk about real quick because Jerry Jeudy and Juju Smith-Schuster like Ertz. Go pick up Trey McBride. Could be just like Greg Dulcich. Could very well do that. Yeah. Gerald Everett hurt. If Donald Plummer finally starts playing, those are. But these two, Jerry Jeudy, does this bring you hope for Courtland Sutton that there's now one more out of the equation, or do you think it's just going to get spread around when KJ Hamler's back and the biggest catch of his rookie season, actually his first catch of rookie season, going for a touchdown?
That's crazy.
I know. So, did any positive spin for Courtland Sutton in this?
A little bit as a Courtland Sutton owner. Obviously, before I say this, I do feel for Jerry Jeudy, and he was trending up in the offense. And unfortunately for him, he has not been able to stay healthy since he's entered the league. But, on the flip side of that, it does create an opportunity here for Courtland Sutton to, rack up some targets. This Broncos offense, though, is just absolutely pathetic. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I want to feel like if they scored 18 points in every single one of their games, they have like 1 or 2 losses. That's it. Just 18 points. This team can't score 10.
Speaking of things, Rich Rebar tweeted out. The Denver Broncos their games for Vegas Lions are already under 100. Like they've already hit under 100 of projected Vegas. Just bet the Denver Broncos game under every damn week.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite bets. Here it is. Here. It's if the Broncos had scored exactly 18 points in regulation of every game, they would be 8-1. 8-1. 18.
Are you serious?
18
so
points. That's it.
I mean, that's how good that defense is.
Oh, so good. Up and down. 16 points week 1, 16 points week 2, 11, 23. They ended up losing that one. That's the one loss they would have. 9 points.
Damn them 16, for giving up 23 points.
Yeah, 21 points. They won 21-17 against Jacksonville, and then they lose yesterday 10-17. But to your point, volume, opportunity. Dulcich had, it was a dud game for him, but he still ran a route on 80% of Wilson's dropbacks. There was a play deep down the field where Russ just overthrew him, and it was on Dulcich, like his fingertips. If he hauls that in, he's finishing as a top 2, top 3 tight end for the week. So I still feel good about him and Sutton as guys. The offense or the schedule is pretty nice. Like, Las Vegas this week, that was Russ's best game, and it's not even close. So maybe he can rebound. We just saw Matt Ryan and the Colts go into Las Vegas and win that game. The Raiders are an absolute mess. So I feel I feel okay about it.
They're tanking without tanking. They're doing a really good job of
Josh McDaniels should probably get fired, though. That guy should
there's no question.
1 year.
That tweet yesterday, that was so great. Did you see the one about the Jeff Saturday and the only thing worse than hiring? The only thing worse than hiring a head coach without any experience is hiring a head coach who used to be under Bill Belichick.
And there was another tweet that I saw surface was he had tweeted, I guess, a couple of years ago that the Raiders look awful. And it just resurfaced again because he's coaching against the Raiders and they look awful. Yeah. But I hope for Sutton.
Speaking of things that happened yesterday, did you see Mike Pereira with the little...
No.
Oh, you didn't see this?
No.
Everybody, if you want to go out there, he was making some tongue motions to somebody off camera. Like, go look for that.
Really?
Yeah. So anybody out there, don't do it right now. We're doing a show.
No,
do it
I'll
after
look
the show.
later. I'll look later. Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster got lit up, bad hit. It doesn't look intentional. It's just unfortunate. I mean, the hit looked like he meant to crush him, but it was just the angle was tough. It wasn't as bad as the ejection for the 49ers one. This one was more intentional. That being said, Kadarius Toney had a game, left uncovered on that little out, which was a great call, by the way.
Yeah,
and the little hopping down the sideline, there's the Kadarius Toney. There's why it's not
gonna lie. Like 10% of me thought that he blew at his hamstring on that play. Not gonna lie.
Did you? I did too. I have more than 10%. I was like, oh my God, he already hurt his leg. Already hurt again.
Good Ciely,
so he got me. Oh, he was like 90% for me.
Good Ciely. Yeah.
So Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman was out.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest thing here. So Mecole Hardman had been, touchdowns in quite a few games in a row. MVS had a game. Toney had a game. What are you thinking going forward? Because if I had to put, let's say there is no Juju next week, MVS, Hardman, Toney, because of roles, I think that MVS and Hardman probably kind of stay where they were. I think Toney could all of a sudden leap to the front of this group.
Oh, I think he could too. I mean, the fact that he has over 100 yards on like 6 to 8 touches and a touchdown is pretty impressive, right? I've been kind of back and forth on him, sell high, and things change so quickly in the NFL. Like you could have gotten so much for Kadarius Toney when he was traded. Yes. Everyone was going nuts. And then last week before the game even started, his ownership dropped in Yahoo leagues. It's just like overreaction. Wow, what did you really expect from him in his first game with the Chiefs? He had one or two catches. He hardly played. Then in game 2, he's more involved. Now a concussion to Juju, could miss some time. All of a sudden, he could really just leapfrog everybody else in this offense, be the number 2 target for Patrick Mahomes. It's a great offense. It's Andy Reid. So I'm feeling a little bit better about Kadarius Toney. If I owned him, I'd still throw him out there to my league mates just to see, because I don't feel like MVS is going anywhere. And if Hardman comes back in the field, he's still going to be involved inside the red zone. But this, like I said, it's a really good offense. And when he's on the field and he's running routes, he's productive. It's just, this is a big if for him on the field. Right now he's healthy and he's producing.
It is a big if. There was a lot of people that were heading to this game that were also excited in the backfield for Isaiah Pacheco. Because Jerick McKinnon was injury, was it Thursday, and then limited Thursday, Friday, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, might not play. However, he did. Here's what happened, though. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he done.
He's finished.
He's
crazy.
Legitimately,
legit. 4 snaps?
On a game where McKinnon wasn't 100%. So, what's your excitement level for Pacheco now that it's just Pacheco and McKinnon? Because if you look at this game, they came out to an early lead. Lots of Pacheco work when things started getting close. McKinnon started getting a little bit more involved. Basically, all of McKinnon's work came in the passing game, 6 for 56, 1 rush. On the flip side, Pacheco, 16 for 82 rushing. And if you want to look for him in the box score of the receiving game, you won't find him. You'll find Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 2 targets and 0 catches, but you won't find Pacheco. So, seems pretty clear. This seems pretty clear to Pacheco with the lead work, first and second down, goal line, which is what we like. McKinnon gets sprinkled in. And if you're thinking Chiefs, yeah, that's exciting for McKinnon, but this is now the Pacheco we'd hope for. This is now, I would say, ranking next week and going forward, because how many games do we expect the Chiefs to be behind? I think Pacheco's in play as an RB2.
Oh, yeah. Again, how quickly things change. This was a crowded backfield 3 or 4 weeks ago. We weren't really feeling it. Pacheco was named the starter. Everybody picked him up.
I was going to say, how quickly it changed. Starter that morning, Pacheco was like, do you want to trade him for Saquon Barkley? And then all of a sudden, he doesn't do much, and it's like, drop him.
Probably 6% ownership in Yahoo to maybe 75. He did nothing in that game.
You know who Pacheco is? Pacheco is Bitcoin. That's what it was. He's just... Boom, boom, boom.
And his ownership right now in Yahoo is 24% because he was dropped in 10% of Yahoo leagues even before this game started. So, again, how quickly things can change, but the schedule moving forward is pretty nice. especially week 15, first week of your fantasy football playoffs. They got the Texans. They got the Texans in that game. Pacheco could have 20-plus touches.
Seattle after that.
And then Seattle after that one. So, yeah, absolutely. I was pretty surprised CEH was – not that I was ranking this guy highly, but it's like when you're ranking, you're doing projections. Like I never have him projected for a lot of touches. But in the back of my mind, it's like, well, he could get a receiving touchdown or he could get a rushing touchdown. He could find the back of the end zone. But he seems to be an afterthought inside this offense. So there is a question there for White Pacheco. I think you roll with Pacheco.
You do
moving forward.
But find a way to.
I think so.
Yeah, it's Pacheco over White, that's what I was waiting to get to that question. I'm glad you saw it too, but it's also both. The answer is both too.
Yeah, you want to have both of these guys in your roster. There's no question.
There's no question about it. All right,
it's nice to see Tampa have a balanced offense.
You know what else is nice to see? Justin Mother Duckin Fields. Holy crap!
My goodness, man!
I tweeted. Look. If you didn't listen to me and you trusted your gut, good for you. Although it wasn't that bad. I said Josh Allen being active, getting the snaps under the center. He's Josh flipping Allen. Like, he's not even Mother Ducking. I have to bleep myself, Allen. He's still the number one quarterback in fantasy. And I said there's only 2 quarterbacks that I would start over Josh Allen knowing his arm is just a little iffy. And the only 2 were your boy Jalen Hurts tonight going against Washington and Patrick Mahomes. And then somebody was like, well, what about Fields? And I was like, reading is hard. And just making a joke. But I was like, and then I said, but honestly, it's quarterback, no smarminess, like just the joke aside.
Right.
I said, if you want to start Fields, I'm not going to stop you. It's your team, it's quarterback, it's this close. But the answer was Justin Fields and then nobody else because he was number 1 again. We kind of sat here last week and said, I don't know how much of this can continue because it's all in the legs. What if he has a day where it's just going to sound crazy to say, but only rushes for 60 yards and doesn't find the end zone because he's only going to throw for like 180 yards and maybe only 1 touchdown. I mean, that's the downside. But here's where I'm going with this, Chris. I'm going to re-ask you the question I asked you last week. I said, how many quarterbacks would you take over Justin Fields going forward for the rest of the fantasy season? We got about 4 or 5. Now, I want to re-ask this question to you because I think for me, it's still Josh Allen, it's still Patrick Mahomes, it's still Jalen Hurts.
That's it.
That's the end of the list.
That's it. Yeah.
2 is not in the conversation anymore. I mean, he just
really
threw
close.
Threw 2 touchdowns. I would love to have 2.
It's very close. I guess if I'm ranking the rest of the way, Miami already had their bye, right? I think so. And Chicago has a bye
for me.
Chicago has a bye week 14. That's just it. Like,
one thing for Chicago is they do get 2 really bad matchups out of their bye for your playoffs too. They get Philly and Buffalo.
Yeah. It's tough. But he did, I think that game was in New England. He had a really good game against the Pats. He had a really good game against the Cowboys. Jiggles is checking in to say Miami bye week 11. So, they both have a bye, so it doesn't really matter.
This week.
Yeah, but Tua is extremely impressive. They're a perfect 7-0 in games that he starts and he finishes. So, I mean, he gets a little bit of love too. But the way that this guy is running, he's got 749
healthy with Hopkins.
No chance.
No?
Not even close. Kyler. Fields, 749 rushing yards. 749 rushing yards. Saquon, Henry, Chubb, Jacobs, Pierce, Fields. His rushing yard prop was 499. He's going to get 1,000 rushing yards this week. He's extremely explosive, man. When he gets away in that he breaks a couple tackles in the open space. We've seen it now in back-to-back weeks where he's busted off like 60-yard runs. And Cole Kmet, finally, it's another guy. Like, take my mic away. Somebody steal my job the first 6 weeks of the season. Draft Cole Kmet everywhere. And it's like, I dropped the guy.
You were worried about your bet. Be honest. You were worried about your touchdown bet.
Of course I was. Like, I joked a couple weeks ago when he had 2 touchdowns. It's like, I already graded this a loss. Like, I did not think that he would get 4 touchdowns. And
do you know how many more quarterbacks have more points per game than Justin Fields now after this run?
Oh, I don't. I think maybe 1. Like
5. No, not during the stretch. Not during the stretch.
Oh,
now, to date,
altogether.
Coming off that run. Yeah. Like, to date, this run has gotten him all the way up to quarterback 6 in points per game. Only Allen. By the way, Allen is at 29 points per game, even with the struggles. Which is almost 2 full points per game ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Just let that sink in for a second. Who is also 2.5 points per game ahead of Jalen Hurts. And then Burrow, Lamar, Fields. So there you go.
Pretty impressive.
And there you go.
And teams are stacking the box on him, and he's making some good decisions. You're seeing Cole Kmet wide open in the middle of the field. You're seeing, shots down the field with Darnell Mooney. So it's taking a little bit of time. I don't know. It's a conversation for another day. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence, but
just as the waivers, thank you for that transition, and worries and more are a conversation for another day. They're a conversation for tomorrow, Tuesday, with Stefan Lauren. We will be back on All In Football on FTN. Code All In, 20% off. The Bets TV code still works at The Athletic, by the way, everybody. Or you could just click on any of the articles and everything's like that. But yeah, check out Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney, the good NHL bets. Hopefully my Rangers get back on track after that nice win.
They'll be fine.
They did. They look good. It was a crappy team. Yep. But anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Smooches.